YouTube, welcome to the top 16 of the Meta Weekly, where today we have a fiend with dark powers for confusing the enemy. Among the fiend-type monsters, this monster boasts considerable force. Holy moly, this really is unironically in our deck, alongside the White Dustin, the proudest of them all, playing against the Tier 1 top deck at the moment, Blue Eyes White Dragon. By watching as long as you can, that greatly supports these events. Are you ready? Hajime.
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
Start this off with the wishes. Discard another wish to search our deck for a Roar, which will summon a Blue Eyes from the deck, and a Sage, which will be our normal summon. On normal summon, search in our deck. I do not like this negate because there are so many other follow-up cards that could play right on through this. What if they already have a Maiden in hand? What if they have another Sage in hand? Well, if they have any of those, you just turn the Sage into a Link 1 that additionally summons, or you just use the Maiden anyway. Now, in this case, generally the bigger fear is if this is their absolute opener play and they didn't use wishes beforehand, which I think did take into account for Morisaki's choice of using the impermanence, where otherwise we'd be searching for wishes, then searching for that Sage to definitely additionally summon. So the fact that we're not additionally summoning a Sage here does make that impermanence better. As we now Spirit with Eyes of Blue on Summon Search for the Mausoleum, which we're not going to be getting great benefit out of. We're going to use the, well, actually we could target the Maiden to then trigger its effect, even though it's not a trigger effect, to summon a monster from Engrave. We're going to use the Spirit with Eyes of Blue to summon the Blue Eyes White Dragon. So what do we have here? It's, sometimes Yu-Gi-Oh! Is simple math. In Blue Eyes White Dragon, you gain a form of disruption in pairs of 2. 2, 2, 2. Well, we already used up a normal summon. The field spell can allow an additional summon, but we don't have an additional summon to give us that fourth body. What gives us a fourth body on the field? The Maiden. Just the Maiden gives us that fourth body to give us another form of disruption. Target the Maiden, chain the Maiden, which you could chain link block this with any card effect, by the way, like Nibiru, or just use Nibiru at the end of the main phase. Reborn, and now we got pairs of 2. 1 disruption, and then double disruption, and then get Nibiru'd, and then lose all our disruption. Well, so much for that. Now, we still have disruption through the Ultimate Fusion and the Majesty. The Ultimate Fusion will non-target pop, I think it's a face-up card only, right? You could destroy, yeah, face-up cards your opponent controls up to the Blue Eyes you use on the field, which will be through the True Light, so pop 1, and then the Majesty will pop up to 2 cards on the field non-targeting, whether it's face-up or face-down, and that's only if we have a card to fuse into, which we do. We have another Tyrant Dragon in the extra deck, so we play double Tyrant. If you're playing Ultimate Fusion, that makes sense. Let's go. Double Disruption through a Nibiru. We are starting this off with a Primite Lordy Load. We're going to chain pop it. This is pop up to 2 cards. On the activation, it would search for a Primite card. So if you pop it, it stops the effect, just like an MST negating. We're now going to Fiendsmith Tract, where we only have the effect of the Ultimate Fusion and non-target pop a card on the field. That's face up, that is. And it's only going to be in response to, we do have to have a Blue Eyes on the field, though. Are we popping right now? Get rid of the Lurie. We're going to trigger the Maiden Reborn itself onto the field, and that's in fact what we are doing right here, right now. What are we trying to deny? A Fiendsmith Requiem, but we have a Dustin, which goes into the Requiem. We tried to stop this play that we went into anyway because of a normal Dustin. Are you kidding me? We're going to equip the Requiem onto the Engraver, going to the Necroquip Princess. We're now going to be returning back the Lurie to Reborn from Engrave our Engraver. We can go into a Caesar if we want. Instead, we're going to go into a Fiendsmith Sequence. Sequence is going to use the graveyard to fuse it up, returning 2 cards to summon the Lacrima. Lacrima is going to be able to Reborn from Engrave our Engraver. Now, from here, we are going to be going into the M7, which could target any card in the field or either graveyard and return it back to the hand. We're going to target our Nibiru. Return our Nibiru back to our hand. Okay, I guess that could be pretty good. We Zeus it. Swing into the giant token here to then Zeus wipe the field. What the? Holy moly, what is going on? We have Nibiru plus the Zeus field wipe. Zeus cannot wipe again, so our only form of disruption is that Nibiru we recycled back to our hand. But Terramare sees it. We know it. It's public knowledge. We end our turn. Now, how can you end your turn? The wishes cannot just search for a Sage and then nothing else. You have to search a spell and trap that mentions Blue Eyes. It's and. You have to do both. And what are cards that mention Blue Eyes? True Light, which is in the grave. Ultimate Fusion, which is in the grave. Majesty, which is in the grave. Roar, where's Roar? Roar would be the only other card. Roar, which is in the grave. We had 4 other cards. They're all in the grave, so Wishes is completely dead. We do have Purge, though. What was Purge going to even do here? It stops the search from the deck, so I would say nothing. Okay. Terramare doesn't know that he just lost to a Summoned Skull because it was never summoned nor revealed, but maybe for game 2 and 3, the Summoned Skull's coming out. Ooh, we have Maxi and a Veiler. Sage on summon, searching for a Maiden. We did change how we used our Veiler or Imperm because this is different than them opening up the Wishes. In this case, where they just see a Sage on opener, we are going to use Veiler, negate the Spirit, which also stops its ability to summon a Blazing Dragon from the hand or grave. We're going to follow up with the Maiden, put into the back our True Light, and what we're going to want to do is definitely grab a Roar, which will be our main way to access our Blue Eyes White Dragon. We're going to max see the Roar. Now, mind you, we played around Ash here. Because it's so obvious to use your Ash on a Wishes, if we're solely dependent on the Roar going through, we don't want to be playing into an Ash. We want to make sure our Drill Beam is turned on. We are also, because of being under the effect of Max C, we didn't want to go into a Heretic Seal. So our form of disruption here is quite a lot, actually. We have Veiler, negate a monster, Drill Beam, negate and banish anything. We have Imperm, negate a monster. We have Ultimate Fusion, destroy a face-up card in the field. Quadra disruption through a Max C and a Veiler. That does not seem right. We had the Call of the Grave for the Heretic Seal, if they were to even make that. We have Imperm, negates the Barrel. This is not a Blue Eyes deck. This is a Summoned Skull deck, or White Dustin deck. It's like it's Primite. It's pretty much what you would call it. We're going to be taking out the Spirit with Eyes of Blue. We still have our triple disruption. We have True Light, which is going to get wiped out by the Ghost Ogre. Ghost Ogre, destroy the True Light, which then destroys the Blue Eyes White Dragon, which turns off the Drill Beam from even being activatable, including the Ultimate Fusion could not be activated. Now, off the top of our deck here, we're going to summon a Veiler. We do have a Purge off the top of the deck. We're going to go into a Spirit with Eyes of Blue. We're going to finger the Engrave Spirit. This is going to, we're going to chain the Ultimate Fusion to dodge the finger. This would have stopped the search and the ability to summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from the grave. So by returning the Engrave Spirit with Eyes of Blue, no finger for you, and come to us, our Mausoleum, and we do have a way to summon our Spirit, our Blue Eyes White Dragon through the Spirit. Now, a Tyrant Dragon's going to recycle the True Light or Impermanence from Engrave to be back on the field. Come forth, Blue Eyes White Dragon is back. And we have 7,200, so Drill Beam is not game. Let's trigger the Tyrant Dragon, recycling Impermanence, not the True Light. True Light is not a form of disruption on the turn you set it for the opponent's turn. Now, there is the Nibiru late to the party. We got White Dust in here, which we didn't banish off the field because you can't. So the Drill Beam states that you have to activate this effect. Target a face-up card in the field, negates effects. Can you negate a normal monster? No. If you do negate the effects of a card, which you have to have something to negate, only then do you banish it. So if I Imperm an effect monster, the Imperm resolves, the monster is negated, can I then Drill Beam it afterward? No. And if you flip it up, it's gonna force you to banish your own card, actually. So in the TCG, they would let you take it back because you'd cry to the judge, but in Master Duel, you're now banishing yourself. Come forth, Engraver. Requiem equip onto the Engraver, Drill Beam, Banish, off the field. Now, one of the main purposes of Triple Tactics talent is the opponent uses a disruption. I now get to draw 2, take control of a monster, or look at their hand. Drill Beam says, no, you don't. I will negate and banish and ensure your Triple Tactics talent is not activatable. Obviously, we wouldn't set that. That'd be ridiculous. But, you know, back in my day, bluffing was actually a thing. Set our dead back row. They think it's a torrential tribute, so then they would be more hesitant to going all out on the field, or maybe a Mirror Force. We have Sage with Eyes of Blue. We have more than one Veiler here, so it could be okay to negate the opener of Sage. Negate! We also did open up with Wishes, which Morisaki is seemingly more open to negating a Sage if they open up with Wishes. We are setting up a True Light with the Roar into the back row. Get roaring, summon from the deck, and you know, this is under the effect of Max C, so we gotta be careful here as we just simply pass. That Roar turned on the Drill Beam. So what we have now is negate a search, negate and banish any card in the field, negate a monster in the field, and with the Majesty we could pop one card in the field non-targeting. Quadra Disruption. A big part of why Blue Eyes is so good is it looks like it plays really well against Max C and Fuelos, where other decks can't do so as well. Engraver. And what's really disgusting about this is I mentioned 4 disruptions. All 4 do not turn on our triple tactics talent. That is unimaginable. How is that a thing? I'm gonna grab our Tract through the Engraver, Purge, negate the Tract. Now, the restriction of Purge and not being able to use Fire, Water, or Dark is not in play here. It's only if you activate it from the hand. We have the Majesty, non-target pop the back row, dead, back-to-back dead triple tactics talent, right? Oh my Jesus. What is going on? We have Spirit with Eyes of Blue on summon here. Veiler is going to negate. We can't Drill Beam that mate. If it were an impermanence, we could have Drill Beamed it. Now, with that being negated, we're not able to summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from the graveyard. We're going to equip onto the Blue Eyes. Before going into the Tyrant Dragon, we're going to hit them with the Max C because we know that they want to recycle engrave the Purge or Majesty. We're going to forego that, knowing that their hand's not as good. And again, no way to use triple tactics talent. All of our disruption is spell or traps. It's not a good time to be playing TTT. TTT is out. Get it out of here. Start this off with a Wakashi. Now, you gotta be careful with the Synchro Rumble for 2 reasons. Number 1, if you activate the Synchro Rumble, for the rest of the turn after this resolved, you're locked into Synchro Summoning only, so no Link, no Xyz if you wanted to do that. And also, the other thing you have to be careful about is if you activate the draw of a try, you also can't special summon a try again for the rest of the turn. So if you pass on the draw, and then reborn it with Synchro Rumble later in the turn, and then you draw, that is a legal play, where otherwise you can't do it. And it's the same thing with Primera. If you search with Primera, you also can't summon Primera. So the Synchro Rumble cannot summon Primera, it cannot summon a try, but if we pass on a try, it could have summoned. So what are we summoning instead? We're gonna summon the Motorbike. Motorbike is here, and we're gonna be using it with the Gargoyle to go into a level 10 Synchro. Dissipator. Okay. Let's go. That was a pretty good turn 1. Ain't no way. Now, one of the best plays for Blazar is being able to negate a normal summon. Normal summons today in Yu-Gi-Oh! Are so immensely powerful, and normally old Centurion could not negate a normal summon because the Cosmic Blazer would be summoned after they perform a normal summon. But with the new support, it's out beforehand. So do get ready for that. Negate anything, plus the Baron to floor, negate anything but not a summon. We do have the Dissipator, which can destroy a monster in response to it activating. We have Call to the Grave to Finger the Grave, which I guess we'll count that as a disruption, so 4. And then we have Ogre to pop a continuous spell or a monster in response to it activating, so about 5 forms of disruption. And then what else do we have here? Do we have a way with the field spell to go into another form of disruption? It does not look like it, but we could draw a card with the Atry. Could finger the Engraver, even. Could finger the Diablo Star. Finger Diablo Star, perfect. Just like that, the best play. Negate, Diablo Star. Now with 4, now the Dissipator can negate a monster effect instead of just destroying it. Engraver, send itself to the grave. Search in our deck for the Tract here. The Tract is going to be searching. Now, it's worth noting, Ogre versus Desiree negating a card in the field stops the negate, but then the Desiree triggers Engrave to send a card in the field to the grave. So you're trading a disruption for a disruption, but at least you're not getting negated. We're going into a Requiem. Requiem is going to summon from the deck. We're going to chain the Atry to draw into maybe another hand trap. Hopefully. Hopefully, not that we even need it. Do we really need another hand trap? Summon the Engraver, then trigger the Atry. Come to us. Magna Hut. Okay. which then triggers the field spell to go into a Chaos Angel to banish a card in the field, so the Atri gave us an additional form of disruption. Ain't no way. Magna Hut, search for a dragon during the end phase or add from the grave as we go into the Chaos Angel, which not used with the light monster, so it does not protect our monsters from monster effects, but on summon, say goodbye to the Engraver. We do have a second Engraver in grave, returning back the Lurie to Reborn. We still have Baron to Floor. We still have Ogre. We still have Dispater. We still have Blazar Dragon. We have 4 additional disruptions, and we didn't even bother using any of them. What we got here? Hollowed Azamina. We're going to fire it off right away as we're going to chain the Wanted Secret to search for the Diablo Star. Now, generally, this turns into us just making a Sylvia, then pass. Not even summoning the Diablo Star. So we would have Imperm, Sylvia, and what's interesting about the Sylvia is it allows us to use Fool Loss even with Sylvia being on the field only after we negate something, because then she jumps off the field, then you could chain the Fool Loss. So if we decide to keep Impermanence in hand, that may be a risk worth taking if we plan on using Sylvia first, then chain Fool Loss and Maxi and Imperm. We could have you. That's exactly what we're doing. Hold the Imperm, use Sylvia, free up the field, chain Fool Loss. It's happening. And the Ash negates the Maxi, so we will be able to just negate it. Negate the Ash. Allow the Maxi to go through. Go to the finger check. No finger. If they had a finger, we would chain the Fool Loss. All is well. Where otherwise the finger would have looked like a blowout, as the Maxi would be negated and the Sylvia would be negated. Get Imperm and Fool Loss. Will this be enough, though? We do have the stand-up Centurion to play right through that Impermanence. Generally, that is what the Primera would be searching for for its normal summon, that is. Let's get poking for 1,600. And because Centurion plays quite well around, a Fool Loss for Maxi, we could just end the turn early and still have a form of disruption. We could Synchro into a Legatia, pop a monster on the field. We could use Ogre. We could Druid Swarm banish. So we have about triple disruption. We could also Druid Swarm into a Chaos Angel. That's another form that we could do. Now, by popping the Diablo Star here, what does that accomplish? Ideally, the original Sinful that we set from the deck is not activatable because we don't have a face-up card to send to the grave unless we normal summon our hand trap. Well, let's banish. This is all, nothing's hidden now. Everything's public knowledge, the back or the hand, the field, the grave, but Fool Loss draws into something random here, which we're not sure if it could turn into a way where the original Sinful would be usable. This would have to be drawing into a Deception Sinful, drawing into the Divine Temple, drawing into another monster they need to normal summon. Well, that did result in them getting screwed. We have Primera searching for the Ogre here, and wow, it looks like Centurion has just completely clapped up Snake Eye Fiendsmith. Super Heavy Samurai Centurion, that is. You can't just say it's Centurion. Lethal damage. Woo, crazy. Memento versus Heroes. Begin. Dark Blade on summon is not activating to pop a back row within the open game state. We are activating to pop itself, then summon from the deck. So we're going to hit them with that Maxi, because why not? We're going to Anguish on summon, searching for the Sleepy. Ooh, we are committing under that Maxi. Are you out of your mind? Sleepy is going to fuse it up in addition to special summoning. Come forth, Creation King. Send up to 3 cards from the deck or action deck to the grave. We're going to send a Creation King, Memento Fusion, plus an Acheron. You were not done summoning? Are you? What are you, Recape? Are you out of your mind? You know you're under max freaking C. I mean, it's right there now. You can see it in the settings. The lingering effects are all in game now. Holy mo! Acheron on summon. Gaddock is summoning. Can you even deck him out possibly? Maybe. We're going to add a Sleepy from the grave back to the hand. Also, it's worth noting that back in my day, which was, 20, 10, 15 years ago, if you had your opponent draw the majority of their deck and you could set up multiple disruptions, well, a lot of decks' main powers were reliant on a normal summon. We didn't have a ton of extenders to wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, the field, but if we're talking about heroes here, already we have Harpy, Feather Duster, wipe out the back row. We have Dark Roller no more, negate the entire field of monsters, but then we're guaranteed another turn. The biggest fear of taking the Maxi challenge is them winning on the very next turn. So if we could at least go another turn, maybe the Dark Roller no more is not that bad. We have Fusion Destiny, which will non-target pop any card in the field. Oh my Jesus, what is going on? What can we at least do? If we can pretend that this was worth it, well, We could pop 3 to 4 cards on the field with the Creation King. We could banish a monster. We could pop up to 2 cards with the Horned. We could take control of a monster. We could pop multiple cards with the Memento Fusion. We could fuse with 2 bodies on the field. So we have about 6 forms of disruption. I think that was pretty good. 6 against a 14-card hand. Let's go. A hero lives as we summon Blazeman. What the heck? People play Blazeman. If your opponent activate a card, we're going to be reborning a monster from a grave. Come forth and summon our Anguish here. As we are grabbing a polymerization with the Blazeman, grabbing the Acheron from our deck to our hand. Heartbeat Feather Duster, wiping out the back, or chaining the Memento Fusion. And the Bone Party. Let's get partying. So goodbye to the Super Poly. And goodbye to the Guardian Chimera play. And goodbye to possibly the Horned Dragon play. Let's see if we're popping it here. No, we could still kind of do it. We're going to Acheron, add back a Banisher Engrave Memento card back to the hand. Gaddock, add a card Engrave back to the hand. We're going to call by the grave, finger the Acheron from adding back a Banisher Engrave card back, which we were just adding back the Creation King. Not too big of a deal here, as we are getting ready for a follow-up, but will there even be a follow-up? Can heroes just win the duel right here, right now? We have Sleepy to our hand, which is not another form of disruption. The Mace could take control. The Creation King could pop. The Little Knight could banish. And the Horned Dragon could pop up to 2 cards on the field after the Creation King pops it. Where otherwise we had the Bone Party to pop it to separate it from the Creation King. So it's likely not going to be another form of disruption, but let's find out. Can we play through 4? 4 plays to go. Polymerization into the Sunrise. Sunrise is going to give the ability of, if another hero attacks, we can destroy a card in the field. Let's trigger its effect to search for a Miracle Fusion. And boy, do we need a Miracle for Memento here. Miracle Fuse, we could use the graveyard to come forth and summon Absolute Zero. If this leaves the field, it destroys the entire opposing field of monsters. So let's use Mace to take control. Increase the tribute. Now, will this trigger the Absolute Zero? Let's read it. If this card leaves the field, it does not matter if it's a cost or a card effect, it is leaving the field, and it's now going to destroy the entire opposing field. We're now using the Creation King to pop 2 to pop 2. And, oh boy. So we pop 2 to pop 2. We have used the Mace, we have Little Knight plus the Horned. Right now, popping 2 more cards. And then the Little Knight is not going to even be activatable here. Wipe the field with the Absolute Zero. 0 cards left, but we do have Gaddock on field to block an attack. And as I was thinking, the Dark Will No More was not going to be a good idea to use. We should, ideally after a Maxi Challenge, try to just win the duel. We're going to summon a Malicious from the deck by banishing from Engrave. Cross Crusader is going to be activating to reborn the Denier. Denier on summon is going to return a Malicious back into the deck, so we could use the Engrave Malicious again to summon another copy of Malicious from the deck onto the field. Let's further turn this into the Dread Decimator. If this attacks a defense position monster, boosting this 5,600 damage over that defense position Gaddock, and just like that, DPE attempting to go for game, but there's a Sleepy on summon. We're going to non-target pop that Sleepy out of here. Sleepy will send from the deck to the grave, ideally a Gaddock if we have not sent one already, which will then reborn onto the field to block that attack, but we have already used it in that turn. Lethal damage. Nice try. Maxi challenge against heroes. That's something. That's a brave choice. We have our Dark Blade. This is a different duel. We have Ash Blossom instead of Maxi being changed to the Dark Blade, attempting to summon from the deck. Now, we do have a lot of follow-up. We have the Horse to play through it. We have the Bone Party to play through it. Are we doing this again? Ricate? Can we chill? Are we taking the Maxi challenge a second time? It didn't work out game 1. Mace, Search, Memento, Fusion, Set, Pass, right? You meant to set that, right? Okay. Looks like we might be doing it again. Creation King on summon. Send from the deck and extra deck to the great. You have no chill. You get into the top 16 and you're going to back-to-back take the Maxi challenge. Memento field spell. We're going to banish the Memento Fusion, pop the Dark Blade, search for the Bone Party. Okay. Why not set the Bone Party, though? Oh, could we have another Bone Party? We don't have another Memento Fusion Engraver to set off of that, unfortunately. Now, what are our forms of disruption here? We don't have a combined creation, so Mace Take Control is not going to work. We do have the Creation King, which could pop one card on the field, and we could pretty much just do that, right? I don't think we have a way. If we get the Horn Dragon, we don't have a way to pop it. Yeah. Okay. One Disrupt. We're going to Vision, Hero, Ferris, discard the Miss, trigger the Miss when sent to the grave to search our deck for a hero. As the Ferris is going to set into the back row, our Vision Hero increases here, which will give us access to a Vian, giving us access to Polymerization, or we can just normal summon the Vian. Send from the deck a Malicious, which will give us multiple plus bodies onto the field as we search for that Polymerization. Let's link it up. You know this deck is good when they don't even care about using their Dark Ruler no more. We're going to be using the Crusader Tribute off the Malicious, searching for the Plasma. You have to remember that Heroes has inherently a built-in Skill Drain that's searchable, and a built-in Macrocosmos, also searchable. Searchable Skill Drain, searchable Macrocosmos. With all the decks relying on the graveyard, that is big. And we were, in fact, able to summon a Horned Dragon by not popping the Creation King itself to then pop it, which may turn into another form of disruption as it will pop on a separate chain link the Acheron, 2 more cards on the field as the Creation King is popping up to 3. But we just popped 1 instead. We are now going to be triggering the Horned Dragon, pop the Acheron plus 2 additional cards. This is essentially just an extension of what the Creation King could have done. It could have popped up to 3, instead we popped 1, then popped 2. So pretty much just one form of disruption. Gaddock is here on summon, add back engrave the Dark Blade for another turn. The question is, will there be another turn? Acheron add back again for follow-up? Will any of this be good? I mean, this is really good for next turn. Dark Blade is full combo. Bone Party could play through Disruption. Memento Fusion could play through Disruption if we have another Memento, or if we destroyed a monster or a monster was destroyed by the opponent. I have a feeling that Heroes is going to be popping off, though. So much so that we are going to flame it on. Let's go. Let's do it. Heroes is here, and it is top tier into Breeze 69's hands. Sunrise unsummoned, searching for our Miracle Fusion. Come forth, Wonder Driver. As long as we summon under the Wonder Driver, we can recycle the in-grave Polymerization if there is one. We're going to summon right behind that Wonder Driver. We're going to recycle the Miracle Fusion instead. Now, it is activatable more than once per turn as we banish the Malicious to summon 1 from the deck, to then link it all off, not link it, but send to the grave to come forth into our searchable Skill Drain. We have Plasma, giving the Creation King the good suck, 3,400 attack, and all opposing monsters are now negated. Come forth, Miracle Fusing into our Shining Neos Wingman on summon, popping multiple cards in the field equal to the different attributes on the field. That would be 3, and just like that with 12,000 damage, Plasma for game. Begin. Primite Barrel on summon, searching and setting up the load. I say search, but you can't ash it. The load is something you can ash as we search for a Drill Beam. We're now going to hit them with the Droll and Lockbird. Load is going to summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from the deck. And with this, we can go into a Hieratic Seal. So we have Hieratic Seal, Drill Beam, and Majesty plus Veiler. That's a lot of disruption. 1, 2, 3, 4 ways to disrupt here. Ideally, you have a Call by the Grave for the Hieratic Seal. Now, you have an assumption when you see this field, and the assumption is that they don't have a Blue Eyes in hand or another Primite card in hand to make the Drill Beam activatable, that they are in fact reliant on the Hieratic Seal resolving to summon from the deck. So in that circumstance, you could potentially want to use Ash to stop the Seal from summoning a Blue Eyes to ensure that the Drill Beam is turned off, but you know, there's quite a few cards that they could have in the hand to ensure it's still activatable. It would be a risk. We're going to Imperm, turn off the Hieratic Seal. And from here, they still have triple disruption. Can we play right through it? We're gonna grab a Connector. Connector can try to look at the hand here through summoning from the deck the Dolphin, or we could pop the Dolphin before you do that. Reveal the Blue Eyes in hand and engrave to wipe away the Connector and Dolphin. We're now down to double disruption. Drill Beam ready to target, negate, and banish the Diablo Star. And beyond that, we still have the Veiler. With nothing left but the Quantum Red layer. Let's try to spin it back, but we're negated, then summon a Magna Hut from the deck or a Barrel. take out the barrel. It's a second copy of the barrel. Otherwise, I would tell you to not destroy the barrel. If you leave barrel on the field, it does not recycle from engraved back to the hand, giving them the option to then recycle the drill beam or even gain access to it initially. As we summon our barrel, set up into the back row, another Lordy Load. Only on the initial activation can it search. Make sure to set into the back row your drill beam. Spirit with Eyes of Blue. Let's speed this up. Come to us, Mausoleum. With our Mausoleum on the field, we can additionally summon from our hand. We're going to summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from the grave with the Spirit. We're going to boost up the Blue Eyes to 4100. We're going to Lordy Load, search our deck for a barrel. We're going to reborn the Blue Eyes White Dragon, normal summon the Veiler as we now go into a Spirit Dragon, and unfortunately, not lethal damage. So we're going to be forced to go through another turn where our only form of disruption is 2 cards, actually. We have 2. We have Drill Beam plus an Ultimate Spirit. We could negate a card engraved, but that generally is not a form of disruption. Whatever you play off the top of your deck, the never-ending recycling Drill Beam is just going to negate and banish. I was saying that one of the main win conditions that you want to visualize with and against Blue Eyes is if they could make it to the follow-up turn, if you can't beat them within the first 2 turns, then you pretty much lose the duel because it's very difficult to compete with the never-ending recycling Drill Beam. You have to finish them quickly. Connector on summon. Summon nothing from the deck if the Ash goes through. Do we finger their Ash? No, we don't, because we have the Fire Flint Lady. If you control a warrior, special summon from the hand. So we're going to save the call by for something better, like that Max C. Definitely fingering that Max C. No way we could allow that to go through. Now, reasonably, we expect an opponent using 2 hand traps on us, that's it. That's the end. Who the heck is drawing 3 or more hand traps in the first turn? That would be disgusting. We're going to summon the Isolde. Isolde on summon will search our deck. We're not going to use Imperm on that in case they have a way to get another Isolde onto the field. We're going to wait for the effect of sending 4 equip cards from the deck to the grave to special summon a level 4 from the deck, and now the dreaded 3rd hand trap is here. Ain't no way that just happened. We have Gear Blade engraved being sent to the grave to activate the Isolde, adding back to the hand. We're going to Gear Blade equip onto the Isolde, and then that's it. Let's go back to you. Oh boy, we couldn't attack twice because it's the first turn. Maiden putting the True Light into the back row. Wishes discard the other Maiden to search our deck twice. We have a dead Fool loss. We have 0 disruption. Nothing we could do whatsoever. As the Sage searches for a Veiler, because Sage cannot search another Sage, and people are not playing the Master Level 1 Tuner, we're going to be searching for a Mausoleum. Mausoleum is going to send a Blue Eyes White Dragon from the deck to the grave. A Blue Eyes White Dragon. Do I have the in-game music off? I think I did. Sorry about that. As we reborn our Blue Eyes White Dragon and trigger the engraved Maiden back on the field, come forth as the Wishes of Eyes of Blue, equipping onto the Blue Eyes White Dragon to potentially turn it into a Tyrant if we want to recycle the Impermanence engrave. We're going to additional summon the Veiler as we summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from the deck, banish, or engrave, summoning a second copy of our Spirit Dragon. This is going to be 600 over the Isolde, another 2,500. This is not game. This Fool loss is actually quite interesting. If you go into a Crimson Dragon, then you're going to have to be giving them an additional draw. They're going to draw potentially 2 cards here. Ultimate Spirit must be summoned into defense. The only way to get into attack position is the Crimson Dragon. So Crimson Dragon, draw a card, and then draw a card again as we get to poke them for 4,000 damage with the Cipher Divine. But we do have game with the True Light for game. Just like that. Do we have a way to stop it? We do not. White Lightning. Double Spirit is 5,000 damage, and then you have the Cipher for an additional 4,000. Then you have the Blue Eyes White Dragon off of the True Light. Lots of damage. Kaiba versus Jaden. Begin. Lordy Load on activation is Ashable searching for that barrel. Barrel on summon, setting up a load into the back row. So we now know that Drill Beam is definitely in hand. We have the Spirit Link, which we're going to negate with that Impermanence. So notice how we tried to bait the Impermanence through our barrel as we already had the Drill Beam in hand, so we correctly did that. But we are negating the Spirit Link from grabbing a Mausoleum. As we now special summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon from the deck with the load, and we don't even turn it into a Hieratic Seal. So what would be the reason why we would not want to turn this into a Hieratic Seal? it could, the reason would be because we're too reliant on the Heretic Seal resolving to summon a monster from the deck, meaning we lose to a Call by the Grave. If they finger our Heretic Seal, they're essentially fingering 2-for-1. It's a 2-for-1 special, as our Drill Beam also gets fingered, where it would not be activatable to banish a card in the field. So instead, we want to guarantee that form of disruption. I'm not saying that you always want to be doing that. That was just their mindset. We have that guaranteed Drill Beam, negate and banish anything. We have Ash, we have Ogre, and if you want to count the Magna Hut, which could banish the Malicious, that could be a decent form of disruption. We have about 4 forms of disrupt. There's Malicious in our hand. A hero lives, summon from the deck a Stratos. So we didn't use Ash on that. I think the reason for that is because the hero lives is not a hard one to turn. Another copy would be activatable if they had in hand. We're going to be searching for a Ferris. Ferris is going to discard Malicious, as the Magna Hut will banish the Malicious right then and there. Banish. Before it's even activatable, you could wait for the resolution of the Ferris before doing so. Magna Hut triggering a search for a dragon during the end phase. With the mash change, we potentially have some crazy plays here. We're going to mash change right here, right now. Mash change on a Stratos. I have not seen this in a while. What the heck are you trying to summon? Of course I know what you're summoning, but we're going to Drill Beam. Instead of banishing the Stratos, we're going to banish the mash change. That is interesting. Get rid of the mash change. If you target the Stratos, they would have to chain increase. They would still lose the Stratos anyway. So was this the correct Drill Beam play? Goodbye to the mash change. We have 2 disruptions left, that is. Ogre popping the increase. Incredible play. This stops the increase from summoning a Vine from the deck, giving you access to another Malicious, giving you access to a Polymerization. And then you have Ash negating the Fusion Destiny, which doesn't just summon a DPE, it fills your graveyard with plays. So denying the graveyard setup, denying the DPE, and just like that, Heroes ends with no disruption in sight, not even an activatable Miracle Fusion. Barrel recycles, and what comes with the barrel? The Drill Beam Engrave. Never-ending recycling. You cannot get into the grind game of Blue Eyes. You have to defeat them early, otherwise you're done. Let's see. Oh, they only have 4,000 life because the hero lives. What? What? You did not. White Lightning. 3 MR. All right, let's go to game 2. Game number 2, Heroes going second. Begin. Let's set up the Macrocosmos. Let's set up the Skill Drain. It's searchable. It's usable. We have the Mash Change, which could already go into the Macrocosmos. When are we going to be using the Ash Blossom? Generally, Ash is good, used on the increase summoning a Vian, but we already have access to the Vian. As we're going to use the Malicious to banish, come forth and summon from the deck. Fool Loss will be drawing per summon from the deck, but we do have Ash Blossom to negate that Fool Loss. Not today. So what did we accomplish? This looks like it's not much, but this is enough to just win. Non-target pop anything, and Macrocosmos. Anything sent to the grave is banished. The Wishes is still activatable. The Ogre states that it's not activatable under the monster on the field that's Macrocosmos. So Dark Law will completely turn that off. Is Maiden activatable? No. If we get the Dark Law out early, they cannot Ogre, they cannot Maiden, just not activatable. Increase, Tribute off. Ogre can pop it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We're going to have to turn DPE into Dark Law? That was not the plan. What the heck? No way. We don't want to turn this into a Dark Law. Now, how fearful should we be of this? We don't know that it's actually not activatable, the Drill Beam that we'd be searching, but we're still afraid of it. Those 2 cards could be a Primite or a Blue Eyes. What are the chances of that? There's 2 other barrels in the deck, there's 2 other loads in the deck, there's 2 more Blue Eyes in the deck, so that's 6 potential cards. One of those 2 could be to make that Drill Beam activatable. And if not activatable right away, it could then become activatable when we get a Blue Eyes in the field. And the load would be able to get a Blue Eyes on the field. Come forth, Dark Law, pop and banish, just like that. Oh. Typhon, and then we could Maiden. Oh my goodness. Typhon is here. No, Darklaw. Darklaw has been spun back, triggering the increase. For this reason, I would think it's not a good idea to attack. If you're not going for lethal, don't give them a free increase. Bad idea. Maiden is going to be setting up the True Light, where otherwise this is not a valid play with Darklaw on the field. You cannot send Maiden to the grave to set up the True Light. And then we have the Wishes for the Majesty. Got the Veiler. The Majesty is not activatable, but we were under Max C, so we did not want to search for a Roar. So I guess Majesty will be used next turn. We just have Veiler. I'm just like trying to understand that we that's all we have. Yup, we only have Veiler. Well, Fusion Destiny, don't mind if I do. Huh? Dystopia? Dystopia? On special summon target level 4, Destiny Hero, and burn? Oh, okay. Denier, Reborn, returning back Malicious. Do you have to boost up the attack of Dystopia to turn it into a disruption? You do. We're going to increase Tribute off Malicious to come forth and summon. We're going to Veiler, negate the increase as we use Mash Change to dodge the Veiler. It is going through. The Majesty is completely dead. It cannot be used, and Darklaw is now back. Only 3,000 attack or higher would not be activatable. We have Vian. Now, the Macrocosmos is only one way. It's a one-way skill drain, one-way Macrocosmos with your Plasma and Darklaw. Crusader just straight up Reborn's DPE if it was properly summoned. And just like that, we're going to be activating the DPE in response to the True Light. Could pop the True Light, which will then wipe away the Star Slayer off of the field. Wait, it didn't activate Engrave because it got banished because of Darklaw. What? Well, that's okay. It still was getting reduced. Lethal damage with the Dystopia. 1-1. 2 weeks is a good enough settling period where people know how to play against the deck, and people know how to play the deck, and people know what counters the deck. And then also people know how to counter the counters to the deck. Let's set this up. We got the True Light into the back row. Max C is the way. You can only purge the Max C if there was a card on the field. We're now going to be setting up the Majesty in the back row with the True Light. Now, what are our forms of Disrupt? We can negate a search. We can Majesty pop up to one card on the field. We have the effect of Max C. So we have double Disruption plus a Max C. Come forth, Vian on, summon, send from the deck the Mist, triggering a search for a Liquid Soldier. Vian is going to be banishing to grab a Polymerization. Well, you tried to search, I will negate. And if I have a trap in the grave, that will also destroy. We don't. So the additional benefit of Purge is not here. Now, let's Fusion Destiny, chain the Max C. All we have is a Majesty to non-target pop. The Call by the Grave is going to finger the Max C. DPE doesn't mind getting popped. It's into that because it will then Reborn during the very next turn to non-target pop again. This is not looking good for Blue Eyes. We also have access to our Macrocosmos play. Ain't no way DPE non-target pop is here. We're going for that Majesty. Why didn't we chain it? Well, I didn't know you were going to pop my Majesty. It happens on resolution. You don't declare it on activation what you want to pop. The Denier is going to return back Malicious back into the deck. Let's further link this up into a Cross Crusader. Reborn from Engrave to then tribute that monster to then search our deck. Let's get rid of that Denier. Come to us a Ferris. Ferris will be able to discard the Liquid Soldier. We're going to be banishing Malicious to summon Malicious to further link this up into an Infernal Devicer. We are now going to Devicer, search our deck for our Elemental Hero Neos. As we now, Ferris, discard the Neos to come forth and summon to put into the back row our Increase. Increase, tribute off Ferris to come forth and summon. Trigger on summon, summon from the deck, a Vian, send from the deck to the grave, which we already used, so that's a hard once per turn, but searching for Polymerization is not. So we do in fact get that Polymerization that you stopped me from earlier doing, as we now polymerize it up with the Malicious and the in-hand Liquid Soldier to summon an Esquardo to trigger the effect to draw 2, then discard 1. Get rid of that Fusion Destiny. To battle we go, 8,800 damage on the field. We have True Light to block an attack. Come forth, Blue Eyes White Dragon. And Maiden. we're going to be activating Mash Change onto the Increase to come forth and summon our Dark Law, ensuring that any card sent to the grave will now be banished. If we declare an attack onto the Maiden of White, it could activate to reborn the Sage. We are now back to 3 MR. Anything sent to the grave is banished. DPE can non-target pop. We have Imperm negate a monster. If you search your deck for a card, we'll randomly banish a card from your hand. Now, we could have chained anything to the effect targeting the Maiden to Chainlink Blocker from activating to Reborn from Engrave, but reborning a Sage is not going to be that big of a deal. It doesn't trigger on summon. We're DPE chaining to the Maiden instead of Chainlink blocking the Maiden. We're going to pop the True Light, which will not wipe out the opposing field here. If this card is sent to the graveyard, only does it destroy all opposing monsters. It is the Fire King field spell that's grave or banished that still wipes out. We have the Barrel on summon, setting from the deck nothing as the Imperm negates. What can we do from here? We can try to Little Knight. Can't Little Knight with the Spirit of Eyes of Blue. We're locked in a dragon monster only. As we make a Erratic Seal, we are hard coping here into Typhon. Typhon is the way. Non-target spin a monster on the field back to the hand, battling over the Dark Law. Typhon is putting in work. I've got to say, that has actually been great. Increased tribute off the Devicer as we then put into the back row, I should say someone for the deck, a Vian, as we now have Erratic Seal, non-target spin a card back, 3,000 attack or higher, cannot activate. Everything into attack position going into the Erratic Seal. Chain the Maxi before the Erratic Seal activates to someone for the deck. Can you choose to not activate? It's a mandatory activation. As we spin back the Escarado, come forth and summon from the deck, we have our Magna Hut. Off the top of the deck, Mash Change. What the heck was that? As we are going to Stratos on summon. Not pop the back row, but search for a Plasma. Plasma is here to give the Typhon the good suck and give us a one-sided full field monster negate skill drain. What do? We are going to set Called by Pass. Barrel on summon would just be negated. Off the top of the deck, we have Favorite Contact, 3350 damage to the chin. Set the Favorite Contact into the back row, which can non-target pop multiple cards on the field. We have Maiden to recycle True Light if it were in the grave, but it is banished. With it being banished, Blue Eyes currently has no way to get it back. We're going to call by the grave, Finger, the in-grave Neos, which I'm pretty sure we used the banish pile anyway if we wanted to use the Neos. We're going to come forth and summon DPE. Non-target pop is here. Get rid of that Typhon plus your set Maiden of White. Now back to us. Open field, 4,400 damage. That is enough for lethal. Malicious activate, and we are scooping because why didn't you just go to the battle phase? Starting off with the Lordy Load while we had a barrel in hand, so we want to try to bait the Ash here. We chose to pass on that Ash. As the barrel sets in the back row, another load as the Imperm passed on negating that. So it looks like two different baits have happened so far, and we passed on the bait. Link 1, Spirit with Eyes of Blue. We are going to Imperm negate. And now we're going to Lordy Load, summon from the deck. We are not going to Ash negate. Looks like we're waiting for a Wishes, but what if that Wishes never comes? And it ain't coming. So what's very interesting about this is we saved Ash for a card that didn't even exist within this turn. Was that the best idea? Now, if you end up not using Ash, you do have the secondary benefit of negating a Max C. And specifically for this case, we could choose to Ash the secondary effect of Erratic Seal summoning a Blue Eyes, thinking that they need the Blue Eyes to use the Drill Beam, which they don't because they have Barrel in hand. But they don't know that, you know that, they don't know that. Off the top of the deck, our Purge is here. Wishes for Eyes of Blue, getting rid of that Purge. We're going to Ash, negate, turning on our Triple Tactics talent, Mate. Could take control, we could draw 2, we could look at the hand and spin a card back. What do we do? We are going to get Drill Beamed on the ability of drawing 2. Negate and banish. And what's completely unimaginable is that we have no Sage, no Maiden, no Barrel, no Lordy Load. All these one-card starters, no Wishes. Like, wow. I mean, wait, we did have Wishes, right? It got negated? Yeah, it got negated. We did have Wishes. It got negated. Every other one-card starter we just did not have. Insanity. This will be a Lordy Load opener searching for the barrel. We did not ash the initial activation of the load. We were expecting a barrel or a sage in the follow-up, or even a wishes, which they absolutely did not have. We have Lordy Load special summoning from the deck. It's happening again, by the way, where we're saving ashes for wishes, and maybe this is why my 1000 duel simulation is saying to just negate the load. 2 duels in a row, my simulation was correct that negating load was best with Ash, to not save it for the wishes unless they open up with Sage. It's kind of wild. Additional summoning Veiler, that is interesting play. As we now go into the Hieratic Seal. So we're less dependent on the Hieratic Seal having to summon a Blue Eyes in the deck, keeping the Blue Eyes on field because we don't have access to True Light to reborn a Blue Eyes definitively ensures that Drill Beam will not be turned off by a Call by the Grave. So pretty interesting. So if we didn't have Blue Eyes on the field, we would then have been able to Mausoleum send a Blue Eyes to then reborn, trading our Veiler for that. We have Sage on summon, searching for our Maiden of White. Spirit Link on summon is going to get purged. Purge negate. Purge can be used on wishes, but if we have Ash for wishes and Purge for wishes, we do then have to think about what is a good secondary negate. Turning off the ability to gain access to a Mausoleum, which ideally cuts off their access to a Blue Eyes White Dragon. We're going to True Light set at the start of the battle phase in response to the Hieratic Seal, spinning a face-up card back to the hand, which could have spun back the True Light if you would have not chained it. We're going to Ash negate the seals from summoning from the deck. What, something like a Magna Hut? Now, generally, this could help us get into the Primite engine, but we're already in the Primite engine. We were not reliant on the Magna Hut search. We have wishes being negated by the Ash as the Purge was used on the Mausoleum search. Let's set the Drill Beam, and the Drill Beam is activatable. Do we have a Blue Eyes in grave? We do not. So ideally, with the Ultimate Fusion, it only becomes a disruption with the Blue Eyes on the field. Otherwise, we just have Drill Beam to target, negate, and banish. But we could Drill Beam the Drill Beam. And I think that is a big point of contention for the mirror match. If you Drill Beam the opposing player's Drill Beam in the mirror match, I think that's it. You win, right? So the goal is to bait their Drill Beam to then use your Drill Beam onto, but if you know they're doing that, then you just don't use Drill Beam. So both Drill Beams are pinning each other down. And this is why I think it looks like some Blue Eyes players are gravitating towards playing more than one Drill Beam because of the Drill Beam versus Drill Beam shenanigans. Begin. Lordy Load opener searching for that Drill Beam barrel on summon, setting up another Lordy Load. As we're now going to Spirit with Eyes of Blue on summon, search our deck as the Veiler negates you. And we are again in a situation where are we waiting for the wishes? But if they don't have wishes, they could have Maiden. So if they have Maiden or wishes, Maiden then leads to a wishes, we're saving Ash. But by not negating the load, they have a Hieratic Seal. Let's see what they do here. Or they just keep the Blue Eyes on field to keep the Drill Beam activatable. What do we do? Passing, again, on the Lordy Load. We're not negating it, and now they have a Hieratic Seal. We also have the Roar. We're going to negate the Roar, cutting off the usage of Drill Beam unless the Seals is able to successfully summon a Blue Eyes in the deck, but we could use Ash to also negate that. So this is going to be really interesting. What do? We don't know the card in hand, but once the card in hand is gone, we know for sure to negate the Seal from summoning a Blue Eyes. We don't know the chance of this being live or not. We don't know. So let's find out. So do we try to grind out, force them to use their potential hand trap, and so we want to do an Ash check possibly, but how are we going to do the Ash check if the Seal is being used early to spin back our True Light? And now the moment of truth is, do we let them turn on? No, we don't. We do not let them turn on the Drill Beam, even though it may already be activatable because we don't know what that Ash in hand is. Also, here's a big deal. The barrel is only activatable in grave if you have a Blue Eyes on field or in grave, so it would be even more ideal to definitely negate that Blue Eyes summon if they had not already had a Blue Eyes in grave. Unfortunately for you, you're grinding with a never-ending barrel, and as soon as that barrel's added to the hand, the Drill Beam will be activatable. There you go. Drill Beam is now live. We're going to Lordy Load, search for another barrel, so then we could summon barrel while Drill Beam is still live. Where otherwise, if we did not search for the barrel, the Drill Beam would have been turned off. Knowing that the Drill Beam is live, and we don't have a Blue Eyes in grave, so the Majesty is not even activatable whatsoever, what do we do? Wow. Did a Spirit Dragon Synchro ever get summoned? In any of the 3 duels? What happened here? The only extra deck monster used was the Spirit Link one and Hieratic Seal. There was no Spirit Dragon Synchro in sight in all 3 duels. It was all about the Primite. We just have a Veiler versus a Sage Opener. So I would argue that the Veiler on a Sage Opener should always be used on the Link 1, which we did not use it. But we have Nibiru though. Now, what do we have? We have Ash, we have Veiler, we have Majesty, non-target pop, negate a monster, negate an interaction with the deck. Now, setting from the deck is not negatable with Ash, but we can negate the load if we want to from searching. Instead, we're going to Majesty. Now, the load is quite interesting. You can only use each effect once per turn, and on activation, you have to add a Primite. So if we waited for it to activate, then they would not be able to use another load from the hand. In this circumstance, because we popped it while it was set, I can now use another load from the hand, where otherwise the load in the hand would not be activatable if we waited for the load to flip up, which would stop the search anyway. That didn't happen, so we're going to True Light, Reborn from Engrave, our Blue Eyes White Dragon. Load is busted, it is, and a lot of people think it's just busted for searching the Drill Beam. The fact that it could also summon a Blue Eyes in the field, that makes it also absolutely insane. We're going to equip onto the Blue Eyes to make a Tyrant Dragon, and holy moly, we now get to recycle the Majesty. We're going to Purge, negate the load. Does it destroy if we have a Trap Engraved? Do we have a Trap Engraved? We do not. It's going to stay face up on the field since the activation was not negated, only the effect was negated. Tyrant Dragon, get recycling. Are we going to even be able to make use of our other Nibiru? Well, no, it looks like we're going to actually win. Right here, right now, losing the duel with the Veiler in hand. How did this happen? White Lightning for the 20th time today. We've seen a Blue Eyes player lose with an unused Ash. We've seen now a Blue Eyes player lose with an unused Veiler. But to be fair, we did prioritize the Nibiru over the Veiler. Sage with Eyes of Blue searching for a Veiler. Okay, they must already have Maiden in hand, which they definitely do. Spirit with Eyes of Blue. The search for Mausoleum not being negated by Purge, nor is Purge negating the Sage. We're going to send from the deck to the grave a Blue Eyes White Dragon, and we're just going to banish that Blue Eyes right now. We're not even waiting for the Spirit with Eyes of Blue to activate. As the Maiden sets up into the back row a True Light setting up a Wishes, and now we have the Purge. Purge the Wishes, negate. Now, Purge on Wishes is an obvious play if their opener is Sage. It could be more difficult on what to use Purge on if they open up with Barrel. That is essentially the wild card. We're going to go into a double Spirit with Eyes of Blue. The problem with this is most players only play 2 Spirit with Eyes of Blue, but we played 3, so that was okay to do. Even then, it still would be okay to do. We have Hieratic Seal, we have Drill Beam, we have Imperm, so negate, spin back, and negate a monster. Do we have a Blue Eyes Engrave? We don't. So we are solely reliant on the Hieratic Seal summoning a Blue Eyes in the deck before the Drill Beam is even activatable. And we do have the option to just go into the battle phase right away. Search for the Barrel. Very good. Now, with our Triple Disruption, what are we doing? We're not going into the battle phase right away. We're going to get Imperm negated on that Barrel, as we have 2 more forms of Disruption. Mind you, the drill beam is reliant on a successfully resolved seal summoning a Blue Eyes from the deck. And I don't want to summon Blue Eyes from the deck. I want to summon a Magna Hut to search for a barrel in the end phase. So the fact that we're going to be forced to summon a Blue Eyes from the deck to even use the drill beam, that's a huge downside. I'm very curious on what we choose to do. Blue Eyes add the Maiden. Mausoleum, send from the deck a Blue Eyes. Spirit Link 1, reborn that Blue Eyes White Dragon. We're going to further go into a Lina. Lina into a Little Knight. Uh-oh. Little Knight not activating on summon. We're going to Hermetic Seal, spin back the Little Knight, activate to summon from the deck a Blue Eyes White Dragon instead of a Magna Hut, so now we don't have access to a barrel, and now the Drill Beam is activatable. But our one and only Blue Eyes, I think that was a good idea since the True Light didn't have a Blue Eyes engraved to reborn, and only now do we have the Drill Beam activatable, because we gave them a good time to use these seals to then turn on the Drill Beam. Had we maybe formulated our plays a little bit differently, change up the sequencing, make their Hermetic Seal less ideal, then I feel like we would have possibly even come out on top within this duel. And now we're just in an absolute downside. We are chaining our own Majesty. We're going to chain True Light. If we pop the True Light, the Spirit Dragon can negate the True Light from wiping away the Spirit Dragon. As we're going to go for the Spirit Dragon instead. Sure. Take out the field spell. If we instead Spirit Dragon go into ultimate, we pop the ultimate, it would then be chaining with the True Light on the hard chain link. I guess it would be wiping out the Spirit Dragon being summoned anyway. Come forth. That's if you were even destroying the True Light. And I think we probably should just summon the Ultimate Dragon because we would have at minimum ended on the field with a Spirit Dragon. Even if the True Light wipes out the ultimate, you still get the Spirit Dragon back on the field, but it can't summon another Synchro. Tyrant Dragon recycling the Engraved Majesty. The Tyrant Drag. It's not just... There, Nibiru, tribute off the Spirit Dragon. Now Max C against Nibiru. It's a pot of greed, draw 2. Now what I was trying to say is that not only is the Drill Beam amazing in the grind game, the fact that Tyrant Dragon can recycle your traps from Engrave is also insane. Huh? No way. What do you have, like 21 card starters and you're going to set 2 pass? A dead Drill Beam. We have Purge, Ash, Ogre, and Max C. And I do want to highlight the importance here of, because we're not a rogue deck, I know I'm going to crap on rogue decks right now. If we're a rogue deck, then these cards in our hand, in the Purge and Ogre probably would have been some obscure brick that, you know, Sharks play, like the Equip card and the Xyz Armor Trap, which we did see earlier today. I am a fan of Sharks, so no hate towards them. But because we're top tier and we can limit the amount of bricks we're playing, that means when we brick, we still have a ton of hand traps, which we do. Triple Disruption plus the Max C. And this is a reason why you'd want to play just one Drill Beam. Negate the Wish's Mate. And Ash is still usable. Ash would have been turned off if we used Purge from the hand. So that's why we wanted to set it. Maiden's going to set up the True Light, and Ogre pop True Light is incredible. And speaking of Drill Beam being dead, we have 2 Drill Beam. So 2... dead. Both players. 3 Drill Beams combined are dead. That is insane. So this other Drill Beam could be an Ogre, but it doesn't matter because we still don't have a play. Huh? What is going on? How is this happening? We still don't have a play. Off the top of the deck, anything. No way. Just anything can make the Drill Beam activatable. Mausoleum dead. What the dead, brick. We're bricking. Finally, Sage. Because we're in a simplified game state, it makes a lot more sense to imperm a Sage, where otherwise, if it were turn 1, you don't imperm a Sage opener. You definitely wait for the Spirit Link. But we know that the Spirit Link is not going to result in additional normal summon because that additional normal summon would have been summoned on the previous turns. Nonetheless, we're still going to just imperm you because I don't want you to get a Blue Eyes White Dragon on the field, then turn on a Drill Beam that's possibly dead. Why am I thinking with that mindset? Well, I have 2 dead Drill Beams myself, so you probably have a dead Drill Beam also. It's now live. Ooh, I can now set that drill beam. It is live, ready to get banishing. Unfortunately, I should say fortunately, drill beam can't banish set cards. You know, randomly banishing sets would be kind of nuts. Normal summon Veiler. We can turn this into a Spirit Link, then reborn a Blazeway Dragon. We're going to be targeting the Veiler to send from the deck nothing as the Ogre is popping the Mausoleum. We think that they don't have access to a Blue Eyes. We are thinking wrong. We do have no idea. We're going to use our Spirit Link to summon a Blazeway Dragon from our hand, and now our own Drill Beam is on. So it is Drill Beam versus Drill Beam, but because we play 2 Drill Beam, we can afford for our Drill Beam to get banished while still being okay. Magna Hut turns on our access to the barrel. It's going to be searching for barrel. Because it searches for barrel, Ash is going to say, ain't no way. I'm going to allow you to start recycling barrel every single turn here. That will ensure my loss. Off the top of the deck, we have a Purge. Purge can be used on a top-decked Sage, a top-decked Wishes, a top-decked Load, barrel into Load. But of course, I don't understand what, did we side deck out all of our 1-card starters? Does this even make sense? Even Maiden would be great to set a True Light, like what? There's no side deck, by the way, finally. The barrel, which we negated from them searching the end phase by negating the Magna Hut. We're gonna load. Purge is gonna destroy the load if we have a Trap and Grave, do we? We have Drill Beam to negate the negate. Drill Beam, the Drill Beam. Negate the negate, negating the negate. Negate and banish Drill Beam. This is where Lucas thinks that he has won the duel. If you Drill Beam a Drill Beam, it is for good reason you should think that you now have the definitive upper hand as you're going to continually recycle that card ideally, not knowing that Lois actually has a second copy of Drill Beam because he is a mad lad. And we're ready to Drill Beam the opposing Wishes, whatever they draw into, I can assure you. They're going to discard it, they're going to Wishes, and they're going to get beamed out of here. Yup, just like that, beam it. And surprise, I have a second copy of the Drill Beam, reveal the Blazeway Dragon, banish away the Wishes. Now we have a White Lightning to the face for 3k, not enough for game. We have Engrave a barrel, but big problem. Barrel's not going back to the hand unless there's a Blue Eyes on the field or Engrave. So it's stuck in Grave. Congratulations, you have a Blue Eyes in hand, but you need it on the field or Engrave, and you drew into a dead Nibiru. Dead, 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 dead. We keep on drawing dead. What's going on? I feel like this duel was not statistically improbable. It was impossible. How could this even happen? From top to bottom, I'd have to restart this duel off stream. I don't believe this. Konami has to be manipulating something here. YouTube, that is the end of the top 16. Thank you for watching. We'll be advancing to the top 8, grand finale, and top deckles in the very next video. Let's go.